everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Ball is Round. I'm Hady Raphael, and tonight on the show, CF Montreal honors Nacho Piatti and wins against Charlotte. We'll take a look at an exciting end of season for CF Montreal and the Eastern Conference. And of course, we'll dive into the Canadian men's national team new faces. That and a lot more on episode 195 of The Ball is Round. And I'm joined tonight by my two good friends, Elias Krieger-Yadis. Hey, Elias, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Barcelona won. Montreal won.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Life is good. And Andy Coronado. Hey, Andy, how are you today?
Yes, sir. Feeling good, man. I mean, we haven't talked about a victory since I was looking here in the MLS since July 13th. So feels good right now. Feels really, really good to be able to talk about something nice.
2 months later. 2 months later. It took 2 months for us.
It's felt like, why has it felt like 2 years? Jesus.
Yeah, it felt like a very, very long time. Completely agree with you. So yeah, first pod without Eve Powell. I didn't have a chance to talk with her or to talk about her. Lately. Big loss for CF for the pod, for the Ball is Round, for CF Montreal also, because she did announce that she will no longer be a season ticket holder. So just wanted to say good luck for the future. Hopefully we'll see you back at CF Montreal at the stadium and everything. And yeah, so it was a great ride. But at the same time, we're three here. The Ball is Round goes on. The show continues. Elias, Andy, and myself will take over for now. So hopefully you guys will still continue to watch us and to listen to us for sure. So let's dive right into it. We had a big game. CF Montreal playing, I think, maybe their last chance this year to maybe still potentially maybe make a last push to maybe something called a play-in, maybe playoffs. We're not gonna jinx it. So CF Montreal was able to win. As you said, Andy, first win since July 13th. So 2 months later, at last, CF Montreal wins. I think it helped that team quite a lot mentally. I think they needed it 100%. So we say hi to our listeners. We have Mathieu Charon saying hi, and Wellington also saying hi. Can't wait to interact with you guys for sure. And all the rest, feel free to interact with us whenever you say comments. We'll most of the time go back and talk about the comments that you post. So feel free to interact with us. We like we like to interact with people. We're not just here talking and analyzing. Whatever you have a question, it will be a pleasure to interact with you. So let's start right away with the starting 11. Elias, you read my mind. Laurent Courtois against Charlotte. So, not a very surprising starting 11, but I'll ask you guys that after. So Jonathan Sirois in goal, in central defense, knowing that Joel Waterman was injured, came back injured from international duty. You had Gabriele Corbo in the middle with Fernando Alvarez on the left, with George Campbell on the right. The two wingbacks, we had Jaquil Marcherotti on the right, and then Raheem Edwards on the left. In the midfield and middle of the pitch, Samuel Piette and Nathan Saliba. And up front, we had two offensive midfielders with Bryce Duke and Caden Clark, and as a lone striker, Joseph Martinez. So I'll start with you, Andy. What did you think about the starting 11, knowing, obviously, that Waterman is injured, knowing that, of course, no Mathieu Choinière? I think it's the first time since a lot of time that we haven't seen a Mathieu Choinière in the midfield. What did you think about starting 11? Was it normal? Were you surprised?
I mean, I'm no longer surprised. I would have said I was surprised maybe 2 3 months ago when there was so much change from week to week. But given the Joel Waterman injury, I didn't know what to think as to who would be placed where. I did for definitely didn't think Gabriele Corbo was going to be our central defender. But when I saw it, I said, well, we're going back to that Bryce Duke, Caden Clark experiment. The first time around was, man, it wasn't the most impressive lineup, but the most pleasant. I think that time they had Matias Cocar instead of Joseph Martinez. That time that they tried the two of them, but nonetheless, it was just an interesting. I was like, they're still trying out things, seeing what works. Chemistry continues to be a very important thing for this team. But I don't know. I was just like, I have no idea. To be very honest, to answer your question, I was like, I have no idea what to think of this. Feels like we're going to be seeing a little bit more incoherence like we have been in the past few months because you never have a solid lineup. But yeah, that's what I thought when I saw it.
Elias, a change with the wingbacks, a change because, the change with the wingbacks, it wasn't something that was forced upon Laurent Courtois. So that was maybe his choice. Central defense, yes, he had to do something. I don't think there's any surprises there. And of course, the top three, there's always a rotation there. So what did you think about the changes, especially at wingbacks?
I wasn't too surprised about the wingbacks. I mean, I love what Tom Pierce brings in terms of delivery and getting forward, and we'll get into why that kind of profile was missed this game in some parts. But Raheem Edwards does bring that defensive solidity that Tom Pierce can't bring, and we knew this going into the signing of Tom Pierce that defensively he is not necessarily a liability, but it's definitely not his strong suit. And there were gaps always behind him. And every single time he played, teams would try to exploit that. It's almost as if they waited for him to be in the lineup and they go, okay, we're just gonna spam that over and over again. And they succeeded. Right. So Raheem Edwards did bring a nice amount of balance. And look, I mean, Jakil Marshoudi looks to be the first choice for the Hong Kong. David Bugai, as a sub. We'll see how that relationship evolves and how once they both really get fully integrated, what kind of comfort level with the tactical system and how they can each, develop their game. But no, I wasn't too surprised with the lineup. And I think that, that's probably going to be the first choice wing back pairing going forward.
Yeah, I like that pair of wing back. I completely agree with you. But of course, CF Montreal, for people that weren't there or are not aware of the score, won an exciting 2-1 win against Charlotte. So that was, I think, very important, I think, for the team, not only in their hopes for playoffs, but also, I think, mentally. I think that team really had a big problem on the mental side where, those two heavy losses, the one at home against New England and the one in Cincinnati, weighed very, very heavily on their conscience. And I feel that win maybe will bring them together for the last stretch. If we want to be a bit optimistic, Andy, you're the optimistic guy now.
Yes, sir.
So do you feel that team, that win could... Yeah, you're less optimistic than Andy.
Come on, man. Know your role, Elias. Know your role.
Okay, so it's like that. Wait for blinding optimism now. They're winning MLS Cup.
Someone's gonna have to take his role. So
they're retroactively gonna win Leagues Cup. Watch this.
No, we'll let Wellington put his negative comments in the chat.
No, you know what? I met Wellington at the game. By the way,
yes.
He came and talked to me and. He didn't have a lot of negative comments, so I'm very happy to. Can't wait. I'm pretty sure he's going to
because Bryce Duke scored a goal. Is it because Bryce Duke scored a goal?
but let's go back to the question. Did you feel that this can give a lift to that team going forward for the last 6 games of the season?
I definitely think so. Honestly, one of the things that stood out to me the most, was at the end of the game. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I only saw it on TV. I wasn't in the stadium, so I didn't see the rest of the field. But one of the things that stood out to me was at the end of the game when the whistle was blown to finish the game, you see Gabriele Corbo with Samuel Piette and George Campbell, the three of them just kind of hug each other, like just hug each other for a long time, and like just like, we did it, guys, we did it. Their body language was just like, we did it, we won one, we won a game. Like, we don't have to face the shit we've been facing this whole time, while we've been through this horrible stretch of games, and it just, hopefully they can hold on to that feeling and be like, you know what, guys, I think we can do this. Like, it's not that, I mean, we're going to talk about it, I'm sure, in detail, but Charlotte was, I mean, they're an okay team. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but they played well. They made mistakes like they've done the past few weeks, but they played well. So I do think I saw a lot of smiles with the celebration of the goals. They were like all hugging each other. It felt like a team. It felt like a real team when they were scoring those goals. So all I want to see, what's going to be crucial to me, is Wednesday and Saturday next time, which I'm sure, again, we'll talk about it later, but it's going to be crucial to see, was this a one-time, yay, we're excited that we went go-karting this week, or is it like, we're set for this. Let's take it, let's stretch it all the way to the end,
No, exactly. Elias, one last question before we dive into the analysis of the player performances and the team performance. Looking at that Charlotte team, sixth in the East, there isn't much difference between us and them. Like, what's the key to success for that Charlotte team? Do you think that's only talent, or was it more than that?
No, it's an identity. It's an identity, and you even saw it when they played yesterday, right? They were not at their best, but they have a style and they stick to it, and they have an identity, and that is the way Charlotte plays football. For better or for worse, that is their game, and I think that any club in MLS that is fully on board, and we talked about this a little bit last year with St. Louis. It shows you just how effective a team, without necessarily many big name players, how well a team can do if they're just on the same page, if everybody buys in, right? And St. Louis was the perfect example of that, because they have some pretty big names, they have some pretty talented players, and they have designated players, but it's just right off the bat, everyone was on the same page, and they took the Western Conference by storm. Right, this Charlotte team is punching way above their weight because they're winning by committee, and because everyone's doing it together as part of the same philosophy and ideal. So if every team could see just how easy, it's almost like Cincinnati is doing that, but at a higher level, right? Cincinnati has a lot of very talented players. They don't have, right? They have an MVP. Obviously, that kind of pulls the strings, but they don't have a team full of all-stars. It's, they have very strong players, but everyone is on the same page. And that's what Charlotte does to an extent. And that's why, even though they weren't super effective yesterday, you could immediately recognize how they play, what they look for, and what they're trying to do every game.
Oh, that's 100% what I was thinking too. And I feel that also there's, as you said, an identity in a way where each one of the players know what they need to do, but also there's no surprises. There's the same starting 11. Everybody knows their roles and they'll play. There's consistency in the starting 11 that I feel is very, very important right now. So but again, looking at this and looking at that team play, I was like, we're not that far. No. So hopefully we'll be able to build on that and go on and maybe, contest or find our way through to the 8th or 9th position. But we'll talk about that a bit later. So let's talk about player performance. We're going to start with the goalie. So with Jonathan Sirois, not much to do, Elias, for Jonathan Sirois. There's the goal. We can't really blame it on him. I think it's a big defensive error, but I can't blame that on Jonathan Sirois. Didn't have anything to do, I think, the whole game, since one shot on target, and not even like one shot on target, but not a lot of shots at all during that game from Charlotte. They weren't really menacing around the goal. But how do you rate Jonathan Sirois' performance?
He did what he had to do at the end of the day. In terms of keeping the ball in the net, he had, again, like you said, right. The one thing he couldn't, it was borderline unsavable. That's defensive error. The rest of the time, he didn't really have much to do in terms of shot stopping. He did a good job in directing his back line, but again, and it feels like we're always coming back to this. It's the distribution. It's the distribution. Yeah. Yesterday, the distribution was brutal. Right? I mean, yeah, you can make the 5, 10, 15, even 20-meter passes on the ground if it's wide open. But when it comes to playing out under pressure, when it comes to breaking lines, he still doesn't have that in his bag. And yesterday was a really, really stark reminder of the fact that he still has that much work to do. And if he has any hope to join the national team and then compete for a spot, he has to have that. He will not get anywhere in the national team picture, or even if his dream is to move on to Europe in later points in his career, he's not going to get there without the ability to play with his feet and being good at just a simple straightforward pass is not what we mean by that. And again today, last night, it was on display. So yeah, Jonathan Sirois is still a very good shot stopper. That's what he does best, but he has to work on it with his feet.
I agree, but I feel you're a bit harsh on him. I don't know, Andy. I didn't feel that he was that bad distribution wise on Saturday. Yeah, it's not his strong suit, 100%. But I didn't feel that he made too many mistakes, with the ball and distributing the ball. But yeah, he needs to work on that. But Andy, did you feel that on Saturday? Did you feel that this was a major point on Jonathan Sirois' performance?
I think it starts becoming a little more noticeable now, because especially when we're having good games, at some point during this season, you want to start seeing some progress from Jonathan Sirois, his distribution. And I don't know what the solution. You can practice and practice and practice, but at what point do you actually have to bring in a very potential replacement for him that pushes him to make his whole game round? Because I like him. I think he does excellent blocks. I do, but if you guys look at the other MLS teams that are scoring, LAFC, all these that have obviously star strikers or whatever, they're goalies that are kicking the ball, that are distributing long distribution, and all that. They're doing very nice distributions. The Pedro Galles, the Hugo Lloris, you can't put him Jonathan Sirois in the same category, but these are goalies that are putting the ball where the forwards want them, where the midfielders want them, so that they can actually start a game. But to me, what it felt yesterday for Jonathan Sirois, similar to what Elias said, is yes, it was he did his job. He did what he had to do. He didn't make any major mistakes like we saw last game that were like it's his fault. But at the end of the game, is he really the goalie that's going to be the game changer, the one that's gonna set it up? Like, when are we going to see that Jonathan Sirois distribution improve? Because it is important. It is a turnover when he doesn't complete it. So it's that's what I would go in Elias' side as to how to harsh for them, because I do want to see progress, and I don't think I've seen progress with the long distribution over time. Breza, is it like whether Breza's competing them? Is that the question? Pushing
I think it's just who
I
else,
think Salam.
right?
I think Salam knows that we're not really Breza's fans. I'm not a big fan.
Is he the one?
No.
Look, if my gripe with Jonathan, if my only gripe with Jonathan Sirois is distribution, respectfully, Sebastian Breza is not the answer.
No.
Exactly.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more going wrong there, in my opinion. So no. And then to answer your question, we knew, Salam, that you were asking exactly, is he competing? He's not, for me, not at all. He's not. I think Jonathan Sirois is still the right choice as number one. We don't need to hire a new or to bring a new goalkeeper. Yes, he needs to improve 100%, Elias and Andy. Yes, I agree that he hasn't improved a lot this season, 100%. But I don't think that his distribution was abysmal in that game. He had worse game distribution wise. But you know what? Let's agree to disagree on that, and let's move on to the
Hady,
back
Hady,
three. Yeah,
3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 in long balls. 3 out of 10.
yeah, but that's long balls. It's never 8, 10 out of 10 out of 10. Like, yes, it should have been maybe 5 or 6 out of 10, but like
But that's like
you're
double.
never gonna see a 10 out of 10 in long balls from goalkeepers. So like
Of course, but
it's not that bad
yeah,
either, you know. You, I'm just gonna remind you guys. I'm not sure, Andy, if you used to follow the team back then, but Elias, I'm pretty sure I know you were. Evan Bush. Do you remember his long balls? Okay, so
Yeah,
in the history of CF Montreal, we've never had a very good distributor. Maybe Clément Diop was maybe
yeah.
the best one, and even there,
I'd say Pantemis, honestly.
yeah, but he
He was
made
very good.
quite a few blunders too. So hey, let's not
No,
forget that either. So
but that's also why I'm not arguing that we should replace Jonathan Sirois because
yeah,
he's an excellent goalie, just like Evan Bush. But I'm
yeah,
saying if he wants to get to that next step,
of course,
that has to get better.
I completely agree.
I don't think we
Completely
should.
agree.
I don't think we should replace him either. But my only suggestion is bring somebody to compete, to push him to the edge, so that he can actually improve. Anyways, I think competition is healthy, and it's the way to push players to compete better.
Sam says Courtois' system disregards long balls completely, so the long ball percentage stats nothing more than panic clearances most likely. I
It's
kind
also
of
line
agree with
breaking,
you.
though. It's also
Yeah,
line breaking
it
passes.
is. It is.
That's
It is.
Yeah,
It
it is.
is. It is. No, I agree. I agree that line breaking passes, he's not very good at it. Completely agree. But I agree also with Sam that long balls are not really relevant on the way Laurent Courtois plays. Let's move on to the central defense. Andy, a new back three, Gabriele Corbo in the middle with George Campbell on the right, with Fernando Alvarez back on the left. How did you rate them? And we already have a question for you right after from Mathieu Charon asking, do you believe we should keep that back three on next Saturday and for the remaining 6 games? So go ahead, Andy.
I was pleasantly surprised. Again, guys, we've the position that has stood out to us the most the past few weeks while we've been losing has been the three in the back. And so when I saw that, I saw George Campbell again. Oh my God, like he's been having such sloppy games and like always being a wild card that is jumping way too high up in the field and all that, just being misplaced all the time. Yesterday, I felt like I saw a back three that was disciplined, that stayed together. Yes, they made mistakes. They could have been better, but I felt that they were more disciplined. Should we keep them? I have the same mentality that I had 2 months ago. Why fix something if it's not broken? That's my thing. I know Joel Waterman is, supposedly the captain. I don't know, the leading guy in the defensive line, but it worked yesterday. It did work. I mean, it seemed to work between the three of them and Jean-Jean Sirois. So should we give them one more chance, the three together? I would say, why not? What's the worst that can happen? Because if we start again from zero with Joel Waterman on Wednesday, then again we might get beat 5-0 again. So I like them. I thought they played really well. They were very solid. They were disciplined. They seemed to be on the same page throughout the game. And yeah, I would say keep them if just to give them that chance. I'm gonna take a game by game, guys. I'm not gonna say the next 6 games. It would be ridiculous for me to say to do anything in the next 6 games. I'm just gonna say the next game. Hopefully they can give them a chance, the three of them.
Elias, we did talk about consistency in the back three for sure. You've been like really losing your mind on Gabriele Corbo being the guy to play in the middle of the back three since I think last year, since Rudy Camacho left. That was your thing. You wanted that. You got that yesterday. Yesterday. And also, you did talk about George Campbell at one point that you didn't see him improve. And Wellington is saying, I would like George Campbell's performance yesterday. Mm-hmm. It was a very nice performance for George Campbell. So 100%. I want to hear you on that. So Gabriel Corbo, George Campbell, and of course, individually, Andy talked about them as a unit. You can talk about them, all three of them individually, Elias.
I just want to say you called me a madman when I said Gabriel Corbo was the man for the middle.
Yeah.
Because it's mad to think that the man that Wilfred Nancy was grooming to be Rudy Camacho's heir. The answer was right under your nose all along. Yes, Fernando Alvarez did a very good job. Yes, Joel Waterman has shown improvement in that position, but at the end of the day, Gabriela Corbo is the heir to Rudy Camacho. There's no two ways about it. He's also an incredible free kick taker. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's always had a really good shot from distance, but that free kick,
oh man, that was good.
phenomenal.
That was really good.
Yeah, I always get excited to see Gabriel Corbo wind up to shoot from distance because you always know that he's going to make the goalie work. And if you guys ever see Montreal in training and they do the small sided games, when he lets fly, it is vicious. Yes, Samosavi in agreement because we are geniuses. But no, I was really happy to see Gabriel Corbo get the minutes and show what he could do in the middle of the field.
Let him get his moment of stardom there. He's happy.
Enjoy yourself, Elias. Enjoy yourself.
So yeah, no, but Gabriel Corbo had a very strong performance in and out of possession. I think that he was a great metronome, and as long as Joe Waterman is injured, I think that he's the consensus middle center back. And yeah, George Campbell, I loved his performance at the beginning of the season. And I thought that he was arguably the best one-on-one defender on the team.
Yes,
he was being handed these very difficult assignments and handling them perfectly. And, he had a dip of form. He had some time where he wasn't able to crack the lineup. And yesterday felt like early season George Campbell. Yesterday, that left side was completely shut down. Him and Jaquil Marshall, again, we'll get into the wingbacks later, but him and Jaquil Marshall had a really good defensive partnership, and they were on top of everything on that right side. And he swallowed people whole. And Wellington Sauvé is in agreement. When you have Wellington complimenting you, that's how you know you have a good game, right? And he's not
Wellington the standard.
He's not one to just throw around compliments like that. So I also agree with that. I think that he was definitely in competition for man of the match. Goal and assist, it's kind of hard to compete against goal and assist, but
yeah,
I absolutely think he should have been the running for man of the match because he was really good.
But
Alvarez, I think has quietly become such an important part of that back line, and he adds a little bit of everything. He's still not as athletic as
also he made a huge mistake.
He did make a huge mistake.
He made a huge mistake. Like the goal is 100%. A lot of people are looking at Raheem Edwards, but for me, the main mistake was done by Fernando Alvarez.
They both missed coverage. I do agree with you that he was probably a bit more at fault. I do think that you could look at multiple people, but I think he was the main one. But I do think as a total performance, again, it's another really solid performance. Right. And again, as a center back, you make one mistake and that's all everyone looks at. But over 90 minutes with the ball. I
just don't want to praise him too much because I feel that he's
I'm not going to praise him as much as Corbo or Campbell. I think of the three, he arguably had, I don't want to say the worst game because he didn't have a bad game, but I'll say the less good, even though it's terrible.
I agree.
I still think that he had quietly another really solid performance over 90 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. And look, this back three, I agree with Mathieu, right? You cannot afford to shift up the back line again. If it ain't broke, keep it. Absolutely keep it.
Yeah, but you know what? The only thing that I would do, honestly, for me, Joel Waterman has to be in that back three, but maybe.
But who deserves to lose a spot?
George Campbell.
Even after the performance?
Yes. He had one good game.
You're not serious.
No, he had one good game, but I feel that Joel Waterman can bring a lot more to that back line than George Campbell on a consistent basis. Even if he was very good yesterday, 100%, George Campbell was very, very good. The problem is with Joel Waterman, it's always been, very, sometimes a very, very good game. And then the next game, he's really not good. So I feel that consistency-wise, Joel Waterman brings more, and I feel that as a right center back, that's the position that he wants to play in. That's the position where he made himself known to the CF Montreal fans and everything in 2022. Uh, Even if he played a lot in the middle and he could be very good also in the middle, I feel that it's time to give the chance to Gabriel Corbo after the game that he played. Gabriel Corbo has never been bad with CF Montreal either. And Fernando Alvarez is for me a sure thing, as you said, Elias. So for me, that back three until the end of the season would be Alvarez on the left, Corbo in the middle, and Waterman on the right. That's gonna be my the central defenders that I will die on a hill for this year. So
But don't you think that at some point Laurent Courtois needs to place trust in somebody, like in somebody in the squad that will make it so that that player can feel comfortable just playing their position regularly, like instead of saying like, I don't know if I'll be back next week, I think I did my best performance, which was what we saw with Raheem Edwards. He seemed to play lights out against Toronto FC. The next, I think 2-3 games he was benched completely, not even in the bench. I think he was in the stands, not injured. So it's at some point, I think right now after yesterday's game, it is crucial for Laurent Courtois to actually start putting some trust in what worked. And I think this backline worked. So why wouldn't he put the trust in the way it worked?
Yeah,
it's crucial.
Yeah, but again, the backline worked, but also, as we said, Charlotte wasn't really good either, right? So I would say that.
We got like an alternative proposal from Maxim on Twitter. Really interesting question.
Go ahead.
Maxim Deg, better with Corbo or Waterman for the upcoming stretch? So he's not even considering Campbell being removed. He's considering Corbo getting removed. What do you guys think of that?
No. Corbo has to be in the middle. I'm on Elias bandwagon now. So yeah, Corbo in the middle, Waterman on the right, and Alvarez on the left. That's gonna be my thing. And I wanna discuss what Wellington said. That you tend to overrate Waterman a lot. I don't agree at all.
We're back.
I feel that
we're back.
I feel no, but like honestly, he's been selected by 3 national team coach in the national team.
Mhm.
Like it's not only me. John Herdman called him, Mauro Biello called him, and now Jesse Marsh is calling him. So like at one point, if maybe I'm wrong, but all 3 of the coaches are wrong, I don't know. I think that he didn't have a good season this year. He's not having a good season this year with Joel Waterman. I completely agree with that. But he can bring a lot to this team when he's on his A game. I feel he's a very good defender once again. And that's not something.
But when was his last A game, Hady, that we saw in the past few months?
I don't. You're gonna learn that I don't. It's not something. I'm not someone that always remembers all the games. Like he had some good games this year. If you want me to go and research and do a research, I'll come back with some games. But when's the last time CF Montreal won, Andy? 2 months ago.
Yeah, I got you.
So it's hard. It's hard to say a central defender was good when the team hasn't won in 2 months. Like that's completely normal. But and the same thing goes to this team has been bad this year. So I don't know. And yeah. So moving on to the midfield. Let's go with the wing backs next. Raheem Edwards and Jaquil Marshall-Rutty. I want to hear your guys on that. But first of all, I will just put some comments here. We had quite a few comments on the wing back. So first, of course, Wellington. Raheem Edwards is the best player of this team. Sometimes he tends to overdo when he has the ball. He deserves to be called up by Jesse Marsh. Best players of this team. I don't necessarily agree with that. And we have who also commented. No, that's it on the wing backs. So, what did you guys think of the 2 wing backs? I'll let you start, Elias, for the 2 wing backs, Raheem Edwards and Jaquil Marshall-Rutty.
Yeah, I think Raheem Edwards had a really solid game.
Yeah.
I do think that his delivery, yes, he did assist on Bryce Duke's goal, 100%. At the same time, I need to see more from his delivery because one nice cutback, that's not, people will look at that and go like, good offensive output. But at the end of the day, his delivery still needs work. But look, it's a step in the right direction. Being able to work on that cutback and get people on the end of that cross. It just has to be done more consistently now. As for Jaquil Marshruti, what I really like about his game is that I don't know if this was per game plan or by his own realization. He kind of took initiative, but he realized very quickly that he was not getting any joy on that right hand side. He was not getting involved offensively. He was not getting forward. He wasn't getting in behind the defense. Nothing was happening in the advanced part of that right side. And he recognized that and he said, fine, I'm just going to make sure that defensively I'm faultless. And he did that. And sometimes, if you're not Capu or Marcelo or Jordi Alba, where you have to always, if you're not contributing offensively, it's a bad game, then yeah, some games you go, it's not my night. I'm not going to be completing, 5 dribbles and sending in 10 crosses. I'm just going to make sure, along with my center right partner, that nothing gets through. And that's what they did. The free kick that led to the goal was on their side, but that really is the only blemish that ultimately, it wasn't even their mess up on the coverage that led to the goal. It was just the free kick. Free kicks happen all the time. So that's what I really liked. And I wish I had asked Laurent Courtois if that was a game plan thing or if that was Marshall Rudy's realizing that. But that's why I really liked his performance, was because sometimes you just need a good defensive performance, and that's what he gave.
Yeah, no, I agree. We had as usual. We've seen that quite a lot with CF Montreal lately in the past 2 3 years, where you have one side that's a bit more offensive and the other one that's a bit more defensive. Andy, do you agree that with Wellington that says that Raheem Edwards is the best player of this team?
No, I actually, some moments he can be like half of the game he can be, while the other games you're just the other parts of the game you're like, what are you doing, Raheem? Like the actual foul that led to the goal was because he was on the right side. He was on the right side because of it was following, I believe, a corner kick, and he was misplaced to the right side. And I've seen it before. It happened in Chicago when he got that red card because he elbowed the other player. That sometimes he'll play more with his hands than his feet, and which will lead him to penalties, fouls, silly aggressive fouls that don't need to be done. So it's one of those things that honestly, like, he could be one of our better players because of his passion. The passion he brings to the game, the energy, the very stand up kind of guy. But at the end of the day, like, he still does very knuckleheaded decisions, which we saw also with Joel Waterman throughout the season. That sometimes you're just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, what? Why are you doing that? You're so close to the box. You're giving the other team a chance. If the guy passes by you, like runs through you, let him go. So you trust that your teammate will come and help you out, or whatever. Or Pierre, they take a shot at the goal and leave the chances to Jonathan Sirois to block it. But no, I can't call a player the best player in the team if I can't trust him to make a foul within six yards of the box, or really close to the box.
Yeah.
So no,
No,
but I love
really
his passion. Yeah.
I really liked the performance of the two wingbacks. I feel that both of them were very very good in their roles. Again, I feel that Raheem Edwards towards the end was very very tired. He made a lot of runs, and he was very tired at the end and doing a bit, lost the ball a couple of times and everything, which is completely normal. He had a shift yesterday, like a very, very big shift. I really loved his involvement in on the first goal, of course, which was very, very important for sure. It's the second goal, sorry, to Bryce Duke with a great pass from Caden Clark too. But the run of Raheem Edwards, the cross, towards the back, and the goal from Bryce Duke. So Raheem Edwards was very important in the build-up and on the offensive actions, which is something that you want to see from wingbacks, or else you're not going to play with wingbacks. Your wingbacks need to be involved offensively, or at least one of them if you're playing asymmetrically, which was the case yesterday. Moving on, midfield, Nathan Saliba, Samuel Piette, Andy. I want to hear you on this, because Sam Savvy has been very, very harsh on Laurent Courtois and his midfield. He did say today, "Hi guys, I have to be objective. Courtois did very well last night. The tweaks he made were solid, and his choices were excellent. Still need to go, but at least he got yesterday right." And right after, he was adding, he did add something about the midfield. Not this one. He said something about the midfield right after.
Too many DMs.
No,
Too many.
no, sorry. Yeah, maybe I thought that he did it. He said it here, but he didn't. But like we've
Yeah.
seen an improvement in the midfield yesterday. Do you agree with that? And how do you rate the performance of Samuel Piatti and Nathan Saliba?
I do see that the midfielders were playing a little bit lower this time. Definitely like the combination this time around of the two of them. I loved Nathan Saliba's distribution yesterday. I thought he was playing. He distributed the ball really well to the
Yeah,
flanks.
on the first
Was well
goal.
in
On the
control.
first goal. Wow. Amazing.
What?
Amazing pass on the first
But
goal.
that to me shows me a player that is learning the game, growing in intelligence as to decision making, as to when it's right to throw it, and building some sort of chemistry with his forwards. But then in the second half, it was a completely different Nathan Saliba that I saw. It might have been Charlotte that maybe did some adjustments from their end at the same time, but every ball that would go to him, he would lose it. He would not pass it well, and again, they were again maybe decisions that he that weren't made correctly, but he lost a lot of balls. Like I think it was maybe the first 20 minutes of the second half. It was a very poor start in general for the team, but I saw him like he really gave the ball up a lot. Samuel Piette, great. He had a great game. I thought he defended really really well. Honestly, I noticed yesterday. I felt him carry himself more like the captain of this team, where he always has been, say, the captain of the team, but he really seemed to gather the troops, very communicative in the field, and really was solid in his performance. He had I saw him read the game really, really well, and he had some interceptions in midfield where he was just positioned really well. So I really like the performance of the midfielders. I hope we can continue to see improvement if Nathan Saliba continues with that spreading of the ball.
Yeah, go ahead, Elias. You can answer the comment here again from Wellington. Saliba's
Yeah,
performance this
Wellington.
year is not as good as last year. He has not improved, in my opinion. Elias.
He's been
I
injured.
disagree. Yeah, part of it, he did pick up an injury, which is unfortunate. But I do think, in terms of maturity, he on the field, he looks so much more composed. He looks so much more
Mhm.
sure of him. Yes, there's still moments where he gets either over eager, or he maybe gets lost in he doesn't maybe have the experience to take a step back and observe the game, and he kind of gets a little bit too stuck in, if you will. But I think that this season, and I said at the beginning of the year that he will become indispensable, not knowing that Matheus Fernandes was going to leave and he actually would become. But I thought that just from his performance and progression alone, he would elbow his way into becoming a fixture that cannot be ignored. And yeah, for better or for worse, there's no one on the team that can do what he does, and you have to respect that in one way or another. And yeah, I do agree with Andy. I think that he was a little bit sloppier in the second half. The first half, he was
Fantastic.
arguably one of the best halves he's had this season, if
Yeah.
not with the club. He was everywhere.
Yep.
And the second half, I do think that it was one of those times where he got a little bit too stuck in. And this is where the experience of Samuel Piette comes into play. And he talked about it a bit in the presser, where after so many times where you go up to nothing, or you have a really good start at home, and then you just concede one goal that's so avoidable, and then everything falls apart. And he even said it, right? They were like, "Oh shit, here we go again." That was literally his words. And so the fact that he
Yeah.
was able to, I mean, it was a collective effort, but I really felt like he galvanized it, where Samuel Piette, who is renowned for playing horizontally or backwards, he was going, okay, no, we're going forward now. We're going forward now. And I'm going to make the ball to send you forward. And he was taking it upon himself to kind of kick everybody into gear after that terrible 5-10 minutes to start the second half. that is the leader, that is the kind of player that the team needs and that we haven't really seen in a bit. So that was why I really liked Samuel Piet's performance and why he maybe took a load off of Nathan Saliba. And at the end of the day, as Nathan Saliba will become more experienced, he'll then be able to pick up where he left off, right? I mean, the rest of his game was kind of wonky, and then when he got subbed out, but as he gets more experience, he's only 19, right? In 2-3 years, games like this, that lull is not going to last an entire half. It's going to last 5 to 10 minutes, and then he's going to kind of get back on the horse. So as a whole, I think this was a really good pairing. This might be honestly one of the best games they've had as a pairing. But yeah, this is where these are games where Nathan Saliba's inexperience shows a little bit in that second half where he got a little too lost in the sauce,
Yeah, no, I
They called
honestly,
me out here. Who's the best player in the team, in my opinion? Bryce Duke. No. No, I do love Bryce Duke. We're gonna get into it.
Love it.
But
I'm gonna snip this moment here.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I do think, look, just based on a very small sample size, what Caden Clark brings in terms of quality and physicality.
We'll talk about him later. We'll talk about him later.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
We'll get into it later. I mean, Hady, do you have anything to say? Because we can get into it right now.
Yeah, I will. No, I will. I will just say a couple of things. I just want to, say that I'm 150% in agreement with you, Elias, on everything that you said about the midfield. Like, I feel that this year, that first half on Nathan Saliba was the best I've seen from him ever. Like, even last year, I think he hasn't been that good last year compared to what he brought on the first half. Like, he did everything in the first half. And when I say everything, I mean completely everything. He was recuperating, winning the ball in the midfield. He was able to distribute the ball. He was able to drive the ball forward whenever he needs to, and he was able to break the lines whenever he needs to with his passes. So, and again, we saw that magnificent pass on the first goal to Caden Clark, and that's what we want to see from Nathan Saliba. He was stellar in that first half. Now, in the second half, there was tweaks from Laurent Courtois. There were tweaks also from Charlotte that made him maybe less confident, but that's what he needs to learn. I agree with you, Elias. He's only 20. He's not 19. He's 20. But he's going to learn. He's going to learn a bit more. And again, Samuel Piette, we had like the best version of Samuel Piette yesterday throughout the whole game. The whole game. Good. And I wanna add something. We're talking about man of the match. I feel that when you have players performing at high level, like we did talk about Gabriele Corbo, George Campbell, Nathan Saliba in the first half, Samuel Piette during the game, and we'll talk about the offensive players like Caden Clark. Of course, you have a win at the end because you have 5-6 players playing very, very well. That's half the team. Usually it comes up to it gives you a win at the end of the day. So I feel that Samuel Piette was like, he showed how good of a midfield he is. And I don't know if you remember, Elias, when we used to have guests from other pods that used to come here on a pod here. And one of the questions where we always asked, who's the player that you would take in your team in a heartbeat? And most of the guests used to say Samuel Piette. We need that pure number 6. That's only job is to just win the ball and give a simple pass right after. This is what Samuel Piette is good at. And it's not only good, he's very good at. Of course, he's not going to be that complete midfielder that's going to give passes and score goals, even if he did at the beginning of the season give a wonderful pass to Mason Toye. But that's not his game. His game is just win the ball and just clean it. We call in French, we say machine à laver. That's exactly his role. He just washes the dishes and just cleans it and gives it clean to the team to do whatever they want.
Dishwasher.
the dishwasher.
Yeah, but
So
he even had a shot on goal. He had a shot
yeah,
on goal, which was
that should have
what
been
the
goal.
hell? What
That should
the
have been
hell's
goal.
going on? Like
Yeah.
he had a shot on goal, and then there was a particular moment. I forgot when it was the first or second half where he makes a movement and he leaves the Charlotte player on his knees. He makes a movement like that where he like kind of turns around and puts the ball up front, and he just saw the Charlotte player like he completely faked everybody out. And it was like, I don't think he's ever been like he's known for that kind of player to be that kind of player to like say fancy moves or anything of that sort. He has his job is simple and he does it well. But it was
Elias learning the ropes on
yeah,
animation,
like,
guys. So
Well,
he's really,
well, I was going to put up this question from Antoine,
what
but
a way to
uh,
tell what a way to tell me to shut up.
my fingers slipped. No, because this kind of builds on what you were saying. Antoine saying all this to
Yes.
avoid the real question. Our midfield is the worst in MLS. How can we help it? Andy, what do you think about that? And what do you think needs reinforcement in the midfield, if anything? Well, not if anything. What do you think needs reinforcement in the midfield?
I think they need some confidence in themselves, some streaks of wins that they can do. I don't know if necessarily adding any. I know Hady's been talking about that the past few podcasts that they need a third person or somebody to help them there. But I think it can work well if the whole unit is working well. I don't think maybe statistically wise we're not the best, but at the same time, we've been our midfield has composed of Mathieu Choinière, which I'm not going to go back to that, but he was obviously playing upset with his contract situation, and Nathan Saliba was hurt, so we haven't seen any consistency from that end either. But I just think they need to regain that confidence in themselves. I think this game was huge last night for their confidence and maybe something to build off of them moving forward, hopefully. But no, I don't think they need to add anything. That's my opinion. I don't think nothing needs to be added more than just gain confidence in themselves.
Yeah. You know what? I like the fact that you're playing with two offensive midfielder. No, that means that you don't really need a third person in the midfield. So don't forget that when I said that, we were playing more with strikers than what we did last night. So no, I don't think we need to change something, especially if you're playing with a box in the midfield, because you were playing in a box. So you had the two holding midfielders and the two offensive midfielders that does like a square. At that point, you don't really need more than that in the midfield. I think this is the answer to the question of Antoine. The answer is that you need to make sure that you have links between the holding midfielders and the offensive midfielders. And we saw that yesterday. And I feel that this has to be repeated until the end of the season. This is something that we need. And, I heard Patrice Bernier talk about this quite a few times on the CanFC, by the way, where he said, that box in the midfield, that's what we need. And I strongly agree with that. I feel that we saw a glimpse of that in the last game, and I feel that we need to build on that going forward. Moving on with the offensive, the three offensive players. So we have quite a few comments on them. So we have Bryce Duke, of course, Caden Clark, and Joseph Martinez. Let's start with Bryce Duke and Caden Clark. We'll finish off with Joseph Martinez a bit later. Elias, those two had a blast yesterday.
Oh yeah,
Had a blast yesterday.
So great. And Sam Savvy says it best. He's the engine. Ken Clark is the engine of the midfield. Plus Edwards was fantastic on the flank.
That's what I was looking for. When I was talking about the wing backs. But yeah, go ahead.
It's a shame that Martinez and Duke don't seem to speak the same language of football, because they do try to connect. And he's right, because when you look at how in sync Duke and Clark were, who are childhood friends, by the way, who played in the Barcelona Residency Academy together, so they've known each other for a long time. You look at how they understand each other after having not played together for a long time, and then you look at Martinez and Duke, who have been together for months now, every single day, and there's just there isn't that click yet, and you go, what is needed? Because Caden Clark, and like I said, I do think he is currently, based on what he's bringing, is the best player on the team.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I love I love how direct he is. I love that he can play anywhere across the front three. I love he can play in the spaces. He can really bring so many different things that I just absolutely love. On top of being physically so much further ahead than all the other attacking midfielders that Montreal has, that he is. They dropped him into 6, right? They dropped him into 6 when they subbed out Nathan Saliba.
And he did train as a 6 during the week.
And
so
he did. So that goes to show you A, how much confidence Laurent Courtois has in him, and B, what he brings. That, Bryce Duke, who did play in a 2-man midfield, but he didn't play as a 6. He played as, the one who had more freedom while Nathan Saliba cleaned up after him. Caden Clark played as a proper 6 at the end of that game, and he did not look out of place. So that's what's so great about him. And if they can get him and his confidence back to a level where, the league is on notice, they've really hit the jackpot with this. And Bryce Duke, it's weird, man. Bryce, he had good moments, he had some weird moments, but at the end of the day, he got a goal. He was heavily involved in Caden Clark's goal as well. And I think at the end of the day, now on top of the fact that at home he does seem to feel much more comfortable, you add that chemistry he has with Caden Clark, he's got to be in the lineup. And I know Wellington voiced his opinion on this. He sent a paragraph.
He's calling you out again. He called us out both today. He called me out on Waterman. Now he's calling you out on Bryce Duke. Man, I don't know what's your problem with Bryce Duke. He had a good game yesterday. He wasn't. Elias wasn't over the moon. He was happy with his performance. Nothing more to be said. We're not gonna.
I was over the moon because now you can't hate on this performance because it was a look. If this can be the baseline for how Bryce Duke plays, especially in that role, then he's not going to become a superstar, but he's going to become at the very least reliable. We were talking earlier in the season how he had good moments, but he wasn't reliable. Games like this, they're starting to become more and more common, which means he's becoming increasingly reliable. So I don't want him. He's not going to become Georgi Mihailovic. He's not going to become an all-star 10 like this, right? But he's becoming reliable. You know what you're going to get out of him, more or less now, right? It's becoming more and more common. So next year, you take it up another notch, right? You want to continue the development. But this year, I think for Bryce Duke, given where it started,
it's been a disappointing season. Let's not say that he had a good season. I'm not going
to say he had a good season, but given his level when he started and how poor it was at the beginning of the season versus the performances he's putting in now, I'd say the season is not good, but the season is positive. The season is looking up. Right, there's a reason to at least be somewhat optimistic in Bryce Duke after this season, given just the progression this year. I don't take these performances in a vacuum, but look at how bad he was at the beginning of the year, and look at what he's putting in now. That's why I think it's a positive, not a 10 out of 10 when we do the end of the year ratings. He's not getting 10, I promise you, but it's definitely like a at the very least kind of a smiley face. That's the best way.
Yeah, I agree. Andy,
Elias, I have a question. I have a question though for Elias, okay? Because before you ask me, sorry, Hady. When you say he's reliable and you know what to expect of him, wouldn't that be more of like a backup player or role player? If it's someone that okay, well, we're bringing him in because we know what he can do. We know what he brings when he's there, instead of a starting caliber player.
Well, I think he is a role player, but I do think he's a starting caliber role player because, again, you saw it. Like, I don't think he'll give you 90 minutes, but if you need what he can give for an hour, especially at home when you have 60% of the ball, like they did last night, I'd say that's fairly reliable. And
depending on the game plan. Okay.
And I think that's only going to get better because the thing is, Montreal went up against a bunch of different setups. The game was open at points. Charlotte was in a low block at points, and he never really looked out of place. There were moments where he was shining a bit more. He was able to turn defenders pretty well in some moments, but he was never bad. And I think the fact that he's becoming more, not saying reliable, I'm saying more reliable, is why this season is slight smiley face.
No,
I love it.
I
Sorry,
like
man.
your answer, Elias. I agree with you, but I think that he needs to improve like pretty quick though, because
He's got to get in the
yes,
gym with Caden Clark.
yeah,
Year
I
3.
think he needs to improve. He This season hasn't been good for him. Again, very good game on Saturday, but the season hasn't been good for him. He needs to improve a lot. I don't think he's ever going to be called up to the national team. That's not it's not his caliber. But he can be a very good,
Maybe for a
a
Gold Cup when they want, maybe
exactly. He
some
can be a
outside.
very good player for CF Montreal. He's not going to be that star player. It's not what we're waiting from Bryce Duke. Andy, you look at those
Yes.
two players. I don't know if you have anything else to add, but the question that I have for you: did you expect such an impact from Caden Clark, like as quick as that? Because yes, he scored his first goal, but even in the last 2-3 games, in the defeats that we had nothing bad to say on Caden Clark. Every time that he played with CF Montreal, nothing bad, and I feel that speaks a lot. And then that stellar performance yesterday. I want to hear you on him signing with the team, and also, of course, on any other comment that you have on those two.
Yeah, so I think that when I first heard that we were signing Caden Clark for the team, I was like, "Whoa, let me look up information on him." See, and I saw that he was a big prospect. He has had success in the past in the MLS and even went to Europe and everything. So I was like, this guy has potential, but it does look like at some point through injuries or maybe misunderstandings with the coach, he kind of lost his way. But it's exciting nonetheless because he had potential at some point, so he could be a good player. Then we saw him play the first few games, and what I really liked from what I saw from him, yes, he made some mistakes. He wasn't, you could tell that he was missing a little bit of chemistry from his teammates. But I loved his energy that he brings to the front, where he's like running after the ball. I remember even the first game, he was calling out the midfielders to come and help him out with the defending. And I thought that was special. I was like, wow, this kid is really, really knows what he wants, knows what he needs to get there, and is pushing everybody, to get there. So I absolutely loved his game. Again, high energy guy. One of the things that he said in the press conference, I believe it was in the pregame conference, is that he said, I understand Bryce's like tendencies and what he likes to do, where he likes the ball, how he likes to run. So he understands Bryce Duke, and I think that's important from Bryce Duke, for somebody that actually understands what his limits are, what he likes to do, where he likes to be. But he also said something important, which we'll get to it. But he said, I'm still learning Joseph Martinez's tendencies and what he likes and what. And there you go, in the post game. So that's important, because I started asking myself, like, who understands Joseph Martinez? Who gets him? Who gets his style? It was supposed to be Bryce Duke. I think that's why they kept putting Bryce Duke there, is because they played in Miami together. They'd known each other from that time. That maybe he was going to be the one that kind of unleashed Joseph Martinez' inner monster striker that he has, but we haven't seen it. So I don't know to blame Joseph Martinez, Bryce Duke, a little bit of both or whatever. But anyways, Bryce Duke's performance yesterday was good. I think he kind of disappeared later in the game, in my opinion. But he scored a goal, so yay, good for him.
That's a great segue, Andy. What you said, and you can talk about Joseph Martinez. He that played, I think, about 70 minutes. Not a lot to say on Joseph Martinez's performance. So, what did you feel? Did you think he had a good game, or what did you think about him, Eddie?
Did he shake Laurent Courtois' hand at the end of the game? No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so I found his performance a little bit frustrating at times, because I felt like he gave the ball away a few times throughout the game, unnecessarily. But then at other times, you do see that you do see that he does have that soccer intelligence that leads him to take action, that actually kind of helps out in those goals that Bryce Duke and Kaden Clark scored, where he continues with the ball, using his body, using his passing, his passing ability and all that to really help out. But he does. You can tell that I think he's a frustrated player that just wants to score goals and is trying to find ways to do it. It seems like he's on his own while trying to do it, but meanwhile, the players around him are kind of trying to figure him out. I think he's kind of figured himself out, but nobody has figured him out as to what's the best way to score him. And the few opportunities that we've seen him have to score, he's missed. So it's I think he's a frustrated player. That's what I see. I see in Joseph Martinez, a frustrated player that wants to score goals. And
yeah, I agree. A frustrated player, and you know what, striker is frustrated when he doesn't score goals. Completely agree with that. I agree with a lot of people that says that his movement was good, but I expect a lot more than movement from Joseph Martinez. He's one of the best strikers that this league has ever seen. I was expecting more, especially seeing that the team was playing well, that chances were created. I feel that he was off tempo most of the time. He didn't understand. He wasn't in the flow of the game. I felt that he slowed down the play whenever we needed to go fast. He was a bit too fast when we needed to play a bit slower. He had quite a few chances to do his through ball at one point in the first half to Bryce Duke. Completely missed it. I don't know. I feel that it was a subpar performance with Joseph Martinez, and it does happen, right? But I think it was subpar. I don't know, Elias. Were you satisfied? A lot of people are saying, on the first goal, if he wasn't there, if he didn't give the effort, of course there wouldn't be a first goal, because he did give a very big effort to recuperate the ball, try to shoot it a couple of times. And also on the second goal, he's the one that does the run in the middle of in the box to free up Bryce Duke. So Bryce Duke is completely open. Do you feel that's enough when you hear Joseph Martinez's name?
Yes and no, because I don't care about his name. I care about what you do on the pitch. But at the same time, he came into the club.
Sorry.
He came into the club and said it. He took the onus. He put the pressure on himself. I want to break the goal scoring record in MLS. And then I want to score. Shoot the ball. Shoot the ball then. Yes, your runs are important. And yes, if you don't follow up and get the rebound, the Kaden Clark goal doesn't happen. Congrats. Shoot the ball. Why do you have one shot on target the whole game? Shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Right? How many times did he get the ball in the area? And it happened at the beginning of the season. We kind of said, he's just getting his footing. It'll come.
Yeah.
The Joseph Martinez we know will come. It's been 8 months or however long it's been. Shoot that ball.
Yeah.
All right. Like at this point, you are, one of the greatest strikers this league has ever seen. You're one of the best natural goal scorers this league has ever seen. Prove it.
Yeah.
It's not like he's not getting the minutes. It's not like he's not getting put in the right situation. It's not like he's not getting the service anymore. You can't say that, because how many touches in the opposing penalty area did he get? He got like 6 or 7 touches in the opposing penalty area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting in the press box with
Yeah.
the ball.
It's a stuff.
I don't care if you put it in Rosette, right? You're the striker. You should be the one saying, "Give me the ball and I'm gonna shoot."
Yeah,
right?
and I was speaking to a friend, and because we're going to move on, I think we said everything that we needed to say about Joseph Martinez. But I was talking to a friend that was at the game, and he sent me a message like during the game, maybe at the 89th or 88th minute, and he told me Matias Kokaro in 20 minutes showed more than Joseph Martinez in 70 minutes. And we'll talk about the subs, and I think that's a good segue to talk about the subs. What did you think, Elias, about Matias Kokaro compared to what we've seen to Joseph Martinez? Also, Jules-Anthony Vilsan that came in, all the subs, Dominic Yankov that came in, David Bugay that came in for the last couple of minutes, and Tom Pierce.
most of them, I mean, they helped keep the status quo. They weren't exceptional. I look, I do like that. Regardless of where you put Matthias Kokoro on the field or when you put him on, he's going to run the shoes off his feet.
He was awesome when he came in. I loved what he brought.
Absolutely, and he brings that spark of energy. I really do hope they can find a way to have him fit in the game plan at this as a starter, because at the end of the day, he just brings. And yes, Caden Clark does bring that kind of energy where there is that willingness to run and be physical that Bryce Duke and Joseph Martinez don't necessarily bring. But can you imagine like Caden Clark and Matthias Kokoro pressing together? That'd be a night. That sounds awesome. But in terms of substitutions, I don't think Laurent Courtois did anything wrong.
Yeah,
but he didn't really knock it out of the park either. He had to make substitutions to close the game out, and he made substitutions to close the game out. He did exactly what was needed.
He had a great game.
I'm not gonna Laurent Courtois is it from a game plan perspective.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm not gonna throw him a parade on the substitution front. I'm just gonna say you did your job.
Yeah.
You did exactly what was needed.
I agree. Andy, I want to hear you talk about Dominique Yankov. Yeah. Honestly, I think that he showed why he's in this team, why he was bought by CF Montreal. We saw his quality quite a few times this year. Unfortunately, his form hasn't been that good. He was injured quite a lot. But don't you think that he can bring that spark in the game sometimes when CF Montreal needs it? He should have a better role, a greater role in that team, because yesterday when he came in, I felt like I saw quality. I saw quality in that player. What do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. Because I've been honestly very critical of Yankov. I've been like, I don't understand what he's doing. He's getting in previous games, right? That he was getting pushed off. He seemed to get beat by speed. Like I didn't know what he brought yesterday. He was brought in the 81st minute. I saw Yankov that seemed a lot more confident with the ball and seemed to be placing himself well in the field. And that was something surprising to see. I was like, man, if we can get Yankov for like 45 minutes of that, and he just knows where to place himself and where to place the ball, then man, we have a shot with this kid, because he can be good. I really liked what I saw from Yankov yesterday, but it was a short sample, so we'll see. As far as the others, Matthias Kokoro, the only thing I'm worried about Matthias Kokoro that I've seen in previous games is that I think he has a tendency to kind of go rogue whenever things are not going well for CF Montreal. And that's, I think, something that
he's the real striker
pointed out. Yeah, but one time, man, this was when we were losing 5-0, that I guess he was getting desperate and crazy, like us fans, and he went all the way to defense. He went to the center backs, and everybody, the midfielders, were like, dude, you could see it on TV. They were like, go up front. He was like, but you guys aren't doing anything. So he ran back. But that's the problem. Like, it seems like sometimes his emotions will get the best of him, and he'll completely like go, as opposed to Joseph Martinez or any other strikers that's like, I'm gonna stay up here. I know my role, I know what I have to do, and I'll just wait for the ball to come here. But I think that's why he's getting benched. I hope he can hopefully mature in that aspect and understand that he has a role, and that just because he goes rogue doesn't mean that he's doing the team any favors. So hopefully we find a way. Guys, did you guys see Joel Anthony Vilsain running yesterday? Because that kid looks like he's frail. Like there was a ball that I think it was Hady Marshall Ruddy that sent it. That it was him and the ball, and I just saw him like hesitating, like kind of those robots where they're like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to run too fast or I'm going to get injured with this run. Like he seems to overthink every motion that he does, and again, it must have to do with his injury history. It must be maybe a mental thing that he like doubts his every muscle in his body. But
it's hard to come back from a series of injuries like
1,000%.
It plays with your mind. So I feel that he needs to get 5 those last 6 games with no injuries, and then we'll see what he can bring, because he has talent. Jonathan Vilsain, he has a lot of talent.
He does.
So hopefully
he has such a great vision.
Yeah. Hopefully, we will not see more injuries for Jules-Anthony Vilsaint. To wrap up, we do have a few questions from the fans to wrap up on that segment because we took a lot of time on the game. So let's answer all the questions. But first, we have a question that was sent to us here on the show from David Weiss asking, have they tried not having two defensive midfielders on the same time to start every game? I feel that we didn't see two defensive midfielders today, with yesterday, and we talk about it with Nathan Saliba playing that box-to-box role and with Samuel Piatti playing like a real defensive midfielder. I feel that's the tactics that they want to have, that Laurent Courtois wants to see. And you know what? At one point with Wilfried Nancy, we had Wanyama and Piatti together. And with Piatti playing that box-to-box play, which was a bit weird, but worked. So I don't think that's the problem. I don't know if you guys have anything to add, or we can move on with the other questions.
No, I think we can move on. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, perfect. So moving on. Next questions. We had quite a few from Dr. Foot. Is CF's defense better without Waterman? We did answer that a bit more. How can we explain that Vilsaint is ahead of Opoku and Sunusi? And is Joseph Martinez useful in attack? Andy, I'll let you answer that third question. How can you explain that Vilsaint is in front of Opoku and Sunusi?
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it statistically wise. It doesn't make much sense to me. But beyond maybe they're just trying to give Vilsaint the minutes that he needs to recover, hopefully recover his confidence in his body and his ability, because he is good. He's very, very good when healthy and when in the best form. As far as Opoku, he's had opportunities that I feel he's missed. I think he scored a goal last game, right? Opoku scored that goal, that only goal that we had.
Yeah, against Cincinnati.
But beyond that goal, he's had a lot of missed opportunities, which doesn't mean that Jules-Anthony Vilsaint has had all the opportunities in the world either. So I think they're just trying to give him a chance to kind of grow. It's also I did see Jules-Anthony Vilsaint play a lot more defensive yesterday. He was very helpful in the front, and I think that's a big emphasis for Laurent Courtois in the style of play that he prefers, is a player that will play defense in the front. As far as Sunusi, that's an argument that I don't understand. I question it every pod, I think, as to why he's not playing, but maybe there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know that's causing Laurent Courtois to kind of exclude him from the plans. So I don't know.
Elias, the question: do you feel that Joseph Martinez is still useful for this team?
Useful, yes, absolutely. I mean, there were still moments where he was important, and even with poor link-up play with Duke, because I do think that it's not where it should be, it still wasn't bad link-up play. It just isn't as good as we know it can be with the two players' quality. So I think that there's still moments where just there, I do think he has his usefulness. I do think he's so much better off the bench than he is as a starter, and I still think that. But look, I mean, Laurent Courtois seems determined to make him the lone striker. And I think he's at some point, chemistry has to develop at some point, right? It's almost impossible for there just to never be any chemistry. I just think that he's better, coming off the bench because he doesn't have to conserve energy, and B, he has a lot more time to kind of understand the way the game ebbs and flows, and he could pick his moment to come in and really affect change. Because at the beginning of the season, he came off the bench and he was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
And the more he started, the less I think he's become impactful. He's still useful, absolutely, but impactful is a different conversation. Wellington says, do you think Martinez should be back next year? They can get him for a reasonable price. I mean, I don't think they're going to bring in any more strikers. They've got plenty. Is it a 1 year contract?
I think it's a 1 year with a year
I thought it was 1 +
option.
1, right?
I don't know if it's 1 + 1 or 1 + 2.
If it's a team option, I think they should
It's always team option. It doesn't exist a player
That's
option in
what I'm saying is
MLS.
true.
Yeah.
I think they should pick up the option if it's there. Hady's verifying now. But if it's not, if he's a free agent next year and they want to renegotiate, if they can get him, maybe not half like Andy said, but definitely a significant bargain, I don't see why not. You know, I don't see one, especially if this stuff with him and Courtois is well and truly in the past and they've moved on. Which I mean, he's starting, so I'm assuming it is. But yeah, I don't see the problem in him coming back.
Yeah, I see it. The only thing that I see it's a 1-year contract, but it doesn't say if there's an option.
I don't remember there being an option when he signed. It really was like a one
Okay.
and done.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so let's move on with the rest of the questions. We did answer Dr. Food. So that's from Tacklers FC for you. Piatti, is Piatti the GOAT of the club, the greatest of all time of the club? Elias, I'll let you answer.
Because when you look at the whole history of the club, right? He was here for how many years?
6 years.
5 or 6 years. It's not as long as some other people's stints, but when you look at the moments, you know, how is he not? You look at the quality he brings. It's tough to argue otherwise, right? I think he's definitely on my Mount Rushmore. I don't think I have Montreal.
Who's your Mount Rushmore? You said it. You brought it to yourself.
I said it because he was top 4, not because I had a top 4. Realistically, all time, I'd have to go.
Bryce Duke.
No. Okay, for 3 for me for sure is Bernier, Piatti, and Biello. I think I don't think I'm out of line. That's a hot take when I say those 3. A 4th,
Eddie Sabrango, 100%. Or maybe Pizzolito, or Gabriel Gervais, or Greg Sutton that we had here as a guest. By the way, Greg, amazing guy. He sits behind me. He sits behind me in the press box. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love Justin Mapp, like Wellington said. Justin Mapp, because Justin Mapp was at his peak when I was formative years for me. Right, these were formative years for me. Justin Mapp,
and he was on the show too. Justin Mapp, by the way.
Right,
you know, all of them came on the show.
Just a better Ian Robin. So Ian Robin's a poor man's Justin Mapp, right? So. But no, Eddie, how do you list it off like 4 or 5 that are 100% deserving? I'm not gonna pick one because
the top 3 for you is Bernier, Piatti.
Just answer the question.
I guess
he said yes. He said yes.
He is. For me, I guess he is the greatest.
Andy, go ahead.
Look, I think that he is, and not beyond the fact that he was a good player, because he was a good player. It's just he's also more recent of memory. But the way that he, as a player from outside of Quebec, found a way to connect with the community and learn the language and stay connected and show that pride for the team that the fans feel through his play and through his celebration and through his interaction with the fans. I think it's important. I think as a South American coming in this country and making that effort to learn the language, learn the city, it's a lot. It's very hard, and not just a Latino, any immigrant, right? So he did that as a player, which he didn't have to, because what player can we say today that's in the squad, say in the past 2-3 years, that since Piatti left has connected with the community in that sense? Has even made the effort to connect with the
Samuel Piatti. Samuel Piatti.
No, outside.
Outside, I would say, but I think Laurent Simon did quite a lot when he was like.
But in the past 2-3 years, as a player, like Piatti did.
If you talk about fan base instead of community, I could argue Romel Kyoto.
Yeah.
But if you talk about community as a whole,
he got the tattoo.
Yeah, you're right. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, but Maxi Urruti has a tattoo, so yeah.
Come on, man.
Now,
Maxi Urruti. Maxi Urruti.
so,
Wow.
but he does have a tattoo.
He's in my Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Do you have a Mount Rushmore, Andy?
No,
Or
I
no?
don't. No,
Okay,
no,
yeah.
I don't.
So go ahead with the next questions, Elias. I think we have a couple still left.
I think we have one more, and it's going to
One
segue very
more.
nicely into our
Yes.
next segment from Johnny Investor. CF Montreal has an easy calendar until the end of the season. They should win at least 5
Oh
of these games.
wow!
Note that there are 5 games left. Well,
There
on
are
this,
6
there's also
Yeah.
New York at the end that I guess my screenshot did not
Yeah.
capture.
Yeah.
But yeah, winning 5 of 6 at the Revolution, at home versus the Fire and the Earthquake, at Atlanta, at Charlotte again, and then at home on decision day against NYCFC, who we all know we play so well against. These 6 games, 5 wins. Is that, dare I say, optimistic?
No. That's impossible. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. It's not only optimistic. It's you're just dreaming. We're never gonna win 5 games.
Andy, what
Not
do you
gonna
think?
happen.
I think we can because it doesn't depend on the opponent. It depends on us. The opponents could be anybody. Honestly, it could be the best 5 teams in the league, and we could win. We could win if we're actually figure ourselves out. Hady, stop it. Hady, stop it.
Not gonna happen. Right, not gonna happen.
I'm positive, Andy. Meet me.
I'm gonna take East Place. I'm telling you guys. Nah, you guys are too positive. No way. If we win 2 to 3 games, that would be great. And
well, I agree with you, Hady, but it depends on us. It depends on the team. It depends if we figure ourselves. Excuse my French, but it depends if we figure our shit out and we figure it out quick for the next 5 games, because so far every week brings a new headline either from the coach or the players. So when are we going to figure it out to be able to string together?
That's Montreal.
You know, but it's like we need to figure it out at some point. So it doesn't depend, because I'm sure other teams have other kind of turmoils and other kind of problems that are going on in their own camp and with their own people. But us why does it feel like we're still talking about a team in week 1 that can't figure themselves out? That's what's frustrating. So it doesn't matter who we face. We need to figure ourselves out. That's where I'm at. You know, it can be 2 to 3 victories. Maybe not the whole next 5. But yes, Hady, they're going to win all next 5. So
let's wait and see.
You want to see me one up Andy's positivity? They're winning all 6. No.
Oh wow. Wow. Okay.
No, and the cup. And the cup. They're not losing. It's like Shorzy. We will never lose again. No, I think like Hady said, right? 3 wins, maybe throw in a draw there as well. That's 10 points. Puts them in a good spot given who they're playing against.
We'll talk about that. If we do have one last question from Tate, I think that we missed.
Did I not?
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Oh, Tate, yes.
Yeah.
This actually does segue into our next.
Yes, exactly.
Segue.
So
after Saturday's win, will we see the same starting lineup next week? Hady?
Yeah.
Copy paste.
The only thing that I would change is just Waterman for Campbell. That's the only thing that I would change.
Oh,
that's it. All the rest should be the same.
I know what I would change.
Huh? Yeah.
And I know I'm kind of contradicting myself here.
No, I would change. I would change also Martinez for Kokaro. By the way,
no.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but also, we're kind of putting out hot takes here. David Bugai for Jaquil Marshall-Rudy as well.
Oh no, man, no. I don't agree. But why? But why? Explain why.
Because he's a defensive specialist, and Foxborough sucks.
Yeah. No.
It's the only reason. It's not a knock on Marshall-Rudy. It's literally just because it's Foxborough.
Yeah, but their defense, New England, their defense is not that good. So you need that player that can come and.
Hady, they're gonna play low. They're gonna play low.
Montreal's not going in there to
no,
win.
they're gonna play very low.
I don't think so. I don't know.
They're gonna play low, and they're gonna aim for a tie. They're gonna aim for a tie.
Also, Kokoرو's knees on that turf. I don't want to see that. I don't.
So no Kokoro?
And you want to see?
I don't want anybody. I don't want anybody. I don't want anybody.
Because Martinez has the best knees.
Yeah.
We'll put the Poku. He'll get injured again.
No, probably Sanusi.
No, put Sanusi, man. Come on.
Poor guy.
He's the least injury-prone striker. I think maybe, yeah. Chan is in agreement.
Chan thinks that Sanusi should be the one.
Let's put Joel Anthony Vilsain up there. Maybe he'll gain his confidence.
Are you kidding me?
No, you're crazy, man. You're crazy.
I don't even want him on the squad list.
Let's talk about the second segment. So we'll take a look at the fixtures that are first of all the standings, and then we'll look at the fixtures right after. So we do have the standings here. We're gonna remove Chan's comment. So okay, so we have Montreal. We're just gonna look at the bottom. And Miami seems like the one that's gonna win the Supporter Shield, even if Cincinnati's has been good, not as good as last year, but Miami is 10 points away from Cincinnati. All three of them, Miami, Cincinnati, and Columbus, have qualified already for playoffs and clinched the playoff spot, which is huge considering that there's 6 and 7 games left, which is crazy. You have the Red Bulls, Orlando, New York City FC, then Charlotte, and then you have Toronto with 36 points, 29 games played, so 5 games left only. DC United with 33 points, also with 5 games left. You have Atlanta with 31 points, 6 games left. Philadelphia with 30 points with 6 games left. Same as Montreal. Who would have thought that Montreal and Philadelphia would be tied at the 28th game of the season? But Montreal with 30 points also. Then Chicago just 1 point behind with 5 games left. Nashville 1 point behind with 6 games left. And then New England 27 points with 7 games left. Them and Columbus are the only teams with 7 games left. All the rest are within 6 to 5 games to the season. So you look at the standings, guys. What are the chances for CF Montreal? It's going to be very, 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 very close. Very, very, very close. Lucas is saying, I'm going to the game, driving 6 hours on Wednesday. Am I wasting my time? Man, Foxborough is a nightmare for all MLS teams. Not only, even New England. Foxborough is really a nightmare. So we might win, but it's always going to be a scrappy game in Foxborough. So do not expect, champagne soccer. It's not going to happen.
Go for the food and the drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not a waste of time.
Exactly. Yeah. So Andy, you look at the final stretch. If you have to give a percentage, what's the percentage of Montreal making the top 9 as of today, in your opinion?
After last night's game? Oh, man. Ask me on Wednesday because I want to see 2 games in a row.
I'm asking you today, man.
Right now, today, I'm at 50 because I don't know what to expect of this team. I don't know what to expect.
50%? Wow, that's high.
Just half. Being way too positive. You know me, positive Andy.
Nice.
So 50, yeah. Yeah, but just because I'm excited of the win and what I saw yesterday. But beyond that, like I said, I need to see 2 games.
Lucas saying I'm expecting a revenge game 5-0 at their stadium this time. Hopefully that score will be in the dressing room, big. We lost 5-0 at home. Go show me what you can do. I think that's going to be the pep talk from Laurent Courtois. So hopefully we will see some sort of revenge game, Lucas. So hopefully. So Wellington is at 20%.
5 goals.
Wellington is at 20%. Elias, don't you think that you're going to escape that question?
I'm at 100%, obviously. No. No. Oh, man. I feel like it's so arbitrary. In
I know
terms
we're
of
just having
percentage,
fun, right? We're just
but I'm gonna put it at 47.6%.
That's
wow, that high.
Hady stop the show for the positivities and be like, I don't like this vibe anymore.
Why not? You know what? It changes a lot from what I've been experiencing in the last few years. So I would say about 31, 32%. I feel that there's a chance there because of the games, and we're gonna look at the fixtures right now. I don't know if we can put the fixtures up. I feel that the games that we're playing at home are very very obtain like you should win those games, especially the game against Chicago and the game against San Jose. So those two games are for me must wins. I don't think we'll win in New England. I think we'll lose in New England. Can you please put back the fixtures? Thanks. Um, we can maybe get a draw in Atlanta. We'll lose in Charlotte, and then a draw against New York City. So I feel that there's a chance that we make it if we win those two games. So I think it all depends there. And that's why I put it at 31, 32%, because those two games at home, 21st of September and 28th of September, are going to be the most important games of the season, in my opinion. What do you guys think about when you look at the fixtures? Is there must-win games for you, Elias?
Yeah, I mean, you win those two games against, like you said, right? Those two back-to-back home games, you win those. Which again, if you don't win those games, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs anyway. So forget it.
No.
But you win those two, it puts you in a much more comfortable spot where there's a little bit less pressure, because now all you have to do is you go out there and you take one on the road, even if you oops your way into it. You have that confidence that, okay, we've got 2 wins in a row, we can get something. If they manage to get a tie in Foxborough, I'll be happy, because at least you continue the unbeaten. Also, Lucas, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, brother. They have not scored 5 goals in a game since they beat Cincinnati in like 2021 in that crazy 5-4 game. So if you're looking for revenge, eye for an eye, maybe not. I think settle for a win. That'd be nice. But yeah, 5 goals is maybe a bit too rich for their blood. But yeah, I think that those two games will give you the ability to maybe breathe a little bit easier and go into those away games with a bit more confidence. Because again, at the end of the day, I think honestly it's a mental block with NYCFC. I think it's psychological, and I don't it's if you look at the head-to-head, 12 games won by New York, 5 drawn, 2 won by Montreal. This is not a quality thing. This is a psychological advantage that New York has over them, because no matter what team that's been there, they've beat Montreal consistently. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that, they should just try and get in the playoffs before then, so losing to them doesn't matter.
Wow. And Lucas saying it's a joke, man. They can't even register a shot on the road. Laughing face. We figured, but we still wanted to answer your questions. Good. So I feel that I think we're all in agreement. I don't know, Andy, if you want to add anything else on the last.
I just wanted to say, I hope Laurent Courtois puts up that sign. I don't know if you guys saw that show of Ted, where he puts the believe sign in the locker room.
Of course.
Let's Ted Lasso, believe. Maybe he'll do that. Maybe they'll help us. Believe.
Yeah, no, for sure. We
just believe in yourself, guys. Believe in yourself. That's all that matters. The talent is in the squad. I strongly believe that the talent is in the squad. They just have no belief in themselves and can't string 2 games together. So that's the secret.
Let's hope we see a bit more from CF Montreal. I think this is going to wrap up our CF Montreal talk. Let's talk about the men's national team. We're not going to stay much. We're not going to discuss the game because it's been a while now since Tuesday, a 0-0, a draw against Mexico. I just want to ask you guys, the men's national team, they were able to win against the U.S., right, Andy? So they were able to win against the US, a very good win, and then a draw against Mexico. Can we say, Elias, that Canada are the kings of the CONCACAF now?
You need a back. You need silverware.
I agree, but
You
like
can't
you
make that
finished
claim without
first.
silverware.
You
It doesn't
finished
matter.
first in World Cup qualifying.
Yes, you did. You win the
You
octagon.
went fourth, and though you were the best team in the CONCACAF in the Copa America, you were fourth. And now you win you win one of the friendly games away at home, like away at in the States, and then again in the States. So it's like at home for Mexican fans. You do a draw. Like
All those things you just said. Do you get a trophy for any of them?
no.
You need silverware. If you want to claim to be, are they the most informed team in CONCACAF? Absolutely.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
Give me that.
Are they kings of CONCACAF? You need silverware. Win the Gold Cup, consistently
So we're Prince
perform
of
at this
CONCACAF
level.
then.
We're the would-be usurper of CONCACAF. Like, well,
Oh
you're on your way there.
wow! Oh wow!
No,
Okay.
you're on your way there, and for good reason, because this is a lot of. When I talked about it with Eve yesterday, right? I am on this hype train. I am conductor. Like this is
Yesterday?
happening.
You saw her at the game.
Last week.
Okay. What? Okay.
But
You guys did a podcast by yourself?
No, but like, why not?
Yes.
I was surprised. Yeah.
but yeah,
Sorry.
they need silverware if they want to claim to be at least in CONCACAF on the level of the United States and Mexico. Right? Win the Gold Cup, then you can start to stake your claim. Do it in the manner that they just did against USA and Mexico, where they were the best team on the pitch. Even better.
Yeah. Chan has a question. Potential opponent for Canada before Panama in October window. Andy, don't you feel it's a bit too late to announce another opponent in October, which is like in 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, definitely. It's there's a lot of more expenses and planning and logistics that needs to go into those kind of things. So for both teams, so I doubt it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a bit too late. I completely agree with you. But let's talk about the new faces, guys. New faces in the Canadian men's national team. Andy, Mathieu Choinière was awesome against the US, was pretty good against Mexico. Do you feel he's a viable option as a starter in that starting 11 for Canada?
I think he needs a lot more consistent performances like he's been showing the past few games. I think he's very talented, but there's other players that have already solidified their spot in the squad that have earned the starting title. And I think right now he should just accept to kind of be on the waiting and have hopefully some success in Europe that can solidify his position with the national team, because that's usually the key to get a starting position in the national team. But no, for now I would say it's too soon. It's too soon to say he's going to be a starter.
Too soon. I know, Elias, you said at one point, and you've been saying that Kyle Aaron is not that player that should be in the starting 11 anymore. You haven't been very, very, very nice to him. But when you think about it, okay, if you add Mathieu Choinière next to Steven Eustáquio with Ishmael Kone, you keep Jonathan David as a lone striker up front. There's a way for Mathieu Choinière to get that starting 11 spot in place of Kyle Aaron, no?
I still think the only way they're adding a third midfielder is if they find a proper ball winner, an elite ball winner, someone on the world stage who's at the level of Samuel Piatti in MLS, someone who is, if not world class, an excellent retrieval specialist. I think that would add so much balance to the midfield. It would give so much more freedom to Kone and Eustáquio to do what they do best without the worry of having to take care of what's behind them. And that's the only way I think he abandons his double pivot. Besides that, I don't think Mathieu Choinière unless he completely, not completely, but unless he really focuses on that part of his game and becomes a Samuel Piette with his technical ability, I don't think he has
Like he needs,
room.
but that's Steven Eustakio.
Yes, but Steven Eustakio is too good technically in this team.
But he
He
is
is too
playing
good.
that. But
He
he's
is
playing that
he
role
is
of
now.
ball winning.
He
Yeah,
is now, but he is too good with the ball in possession. If you want this team to get to the next level, he is too good to be handcuffed to all those responsibilities when he should be the one, along with Ismail Kone, that's kind of just floating and impacting the game and exploiting the space behind Jonathan David.
yeah,
I think that's the only way Jesse Marsh considers going to a three-man midfield. So if Mathieu Chouanier wants to get to a, right now, he is third in line, right? He is solidly the third option midfielder, right? And that was put on display this window with Ismail Kone injured. But if he wants to fight for a starting job and have Jesse Marsh even consider a change in formation, he needs to become an elite defensive force.
yeah. Andy, anything to add? Do you feel the same about
No,
Elias being a defensive force that needs? Sorry, Machichwania that needs to be a defensive force in order to gain that spot. You said no. That's great. I'll ask you another question. We've seen a big switch from the Canadian men's national team in the past since John Herdman left. You know, we had the John Herdman boys for a long time. And then Morbiello in his last game or last couple of games as a coach, as an interim coach, did a switch, called up some players that weren't called by John Herdman. You know, the Bombitos, he called up Mathieu Chouanier a couple of times. He called up Jonathan Sirois a couple of times. He called up he called back again Cornelius and so on and so on. I I still feel that that team needs a bit more new blood, but I'm still also very amazed by how many players did their debut in the last few weeks under Jesse Marsh. We can talk about Nathan Saliba, Stephen Afrifa, Daniel Wasei, Nico Sigur. A lot of players made their debut. So are we seeing another shift? Are we seeing now the birth of the Jesse Marsh era, in your opinion?
I think that we're seeing a Canadian team that players actually want to play for. That in the sense that even double nationalities want to play for because they see that players are getting their chances. It's not like Jesse Marsh is locked in on anything. He's going to give players chances, like young players or even older players, as long as they can actually bring something to the squad. And I think it's an exciting time. It is a change because Canada is little by little discovering that the riches of talent that they have worldwide, not just here in Canadian soil or within the MLS, they have it everywhere. So it's a great time to be a fan of Canada because the future is exciting. You have a great coach that is clearly passionate about coaching this team and bringing it to the next level. Hopefully, it all culminates to a great result in the World Cup in 2026. But it's definitely there is a shift of change in the mentality of what it's like to be a Canadian player. And that's what we're seeing is just the worth of being a Canadian player when we all know in the past 10 years it hasn't been like that. Canada wasn't known for this. They had maybe one or two players that were known, and that's it. But beyond that, and then like you have a full squad of players and backups and youngsters that are coming up in the system that have potential for being big players and for a long time for this country.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Elias, we are waiting for some uh, dual citizenships to make their choice. We talked a lot about Jebison. That could be hopefully maybe a very good player for the national team in case he decides to play for Canada. That's going to be fine. I want to just talk about Jules' comment. I did watch the game against Mexico. Schwanier should improve himself physically. he has improved a lot, but I agree that he needs that bit more. Like he's able to run throughout like 180 minutes. That's not a problem at all. So that part of the physical game he's got. I feel that sometimes when it becomes very physical and aggressive, sometimes he has a tendency to not be able to really pull up and show himself. But that I agree with that. So that's for the national team. I think it's a very exciting times for the Canadian men's national team right now. And I love what Jesse March is doing with the team. I'm in love. And last but not least, Ishmael Kone played his first minutes with Marseille, guys. Honestly, only played a few minutes, but he gave what should have been an assist, an amazing ball to Jonathan Rowe. Unfortunately, Jonathan Rowe, I don't know how, but missed the goal. It should have been a goal. So he's showing some very nice promises, and I really like that. Derek Cornelius got a red card, but like for me, unjustified red card at all. Like it was really unjustified. The reason why he got this second yellow card is because he just moved the ball on a free kick, which is for me complete and utter bullshit. Sorry for the term. So exciting times for Canadian soccer. And I think we're going to be able to wrap up. Elias, Andy, thank you very much for being here with me tonight. It was a lot of fun as usual. Thanks for everyone watching the show. A lot of interactions. Love it when you guys interact. I really love it. Guys, we did do a draw earlier. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but we did a draw. We're drawing 2 tickets for next game against Chicago. We have quite a few people that really showed an interest for those 2 tickets. Just so that you know, the 2 tickets are in section 115, 3rd row. So really, really nice spots. 3rd row against Chicago. It's going to be an electric game. How many, Elias, I think you're the one taking care of the draw, if I understand correctly. How many people are eligible to get, thanks a lot, of course, Elias, and thanks a lot for everybody showing interest.
We got like 25 people.
That's a lot. That's good. So, 25 people. We only launched this yesterday evening after the game. So, in less than 24 hours, we have already 25 people that met the brief and are eligible for that draw. So, Elias, I don't know, are you sharing the screen and doing a draw directly here? Or are you doing it on your phone? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing it on my phone here. So, because there's an app.
Can you show your phone to the
Let me see if I can get it on my computer. Actually, hold on.
Okay, we can do that. So I hope that a lot of you are still here on the show and connected in order to have those 2 tickets. It's a giveaway. It's episode 195. Hopefully, we'll have a lot more for you guys in the next 5 episodes because, of course, we're very, very close to number 200. Hopefully, that will be a big party, the 200s, and we're looking into stuff to make it even more interesting than usual.
Share my screen.
Yeah, go ahead. Alex.
Let's be positive. We're gonna be having so much fun in the next 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Even in bad games, we have fun.
So, time to pick a winner. All right, and Yohan Bouillon. Congratulations to Yohan. Yes. We will be getting in touch with you if you're watching. Congratulations. Well, if you're not watching, we'll let you know on Twitter as well. Congratulations for winning the giveaway. We will be in touch, and we will, give you all the information needed to get these tickets. So congratulations. Thank you for everyone who retweeted and told us who they want to go with and who participated. That was awesome. And hopefully we can do this giveaway a bunch more times because it's always fun. And we love doing it for you guys.
Exactly, guys. So
hopefully
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead.
Hopefully, you'll see us in the stadium. If you see us in the stadium on that day, come take a picture with us. We'd love to meet you and high five you and just So we share in our page that we met each other. So pass by. Don't hesitate to pass by. We're in the press section. Well, me too. I got my seats there. But come by and after the game if you want. Before the game, say hi.
Exactly. So that's it. That's all for tonight. Congratulations again for Yoann Bouillon. As usual, guys, and you'll see the ticker at the bottom. Our content is always going to be free. But if you want to help us, grow the product, you want to help us, even grow a bit further and get to 300 episodes maybe one day, or 400 or 500, feel free to join our Patreon page and help us out. You can join our Patreon, of course, by being a paying member, and of course helping us, gain that edge and becoming even a better podcast in the future. That's it. That's all for tonight. See you next week for episode 196 of The Ball is Round.